Okay. Turn off this fan here. Check, check, check. I don't know why it says audio controls and then it shows my camera. But whatever. All right. I tried to stream last night um, about all this, and my computer, my Mac, fucking just overheated and freaked out, man. So hopefully it'll go a little bit better today and in the future. This is probably going to be a fairly quick stream. Again, I'm just trying to figure all this stuff out, get it all working so that we can start streaming more regularly. But I'm just going to jump right to it. I found this and I wanted to share this to kind of kick off the stream because it kind of highlights what's happening in the world. So you see, this is from, I can't remember who he was talking to here, but right here it says Tucker Carlson about immigration in Ireland. And so I'll just play this real quick, and then I'm gonna check the stream while this is playing, make sure it's all.
Okay. It does seem like there's race hate at the bottom of it. I can't think of a better explanation. I mean, there have been wars in Africa.
Let's start it again. Okay.
It does seem like there's race hate at the bottom of it. I can't think of a better explanation. I mean, there have been wars in Africa, sort of every week for my entire life, and no one's saying we've got too many Africans in Nigeria, let's replace them with Indians or something. No one would even think to say that. But poor Ireland, which didn't really do anything wrong on the world stage that I'm aware of, is, in 100 years, there'll be, a minority of Irish people in Ireland. That's a big change, and it's on purpose. How could anyone read that as anything but an expression of hate?
Carta! No.
Look at this.
Hello.
This is Ireland. Tucker brings up a really good point here in a second. I'm probably just going to skip forward a little bit because some of this is just like B-roll, I guess. This is Ireland.
I don't, at this point, care if you're not allowed to notice it or if you're racist to notice it's happening in Ireland. Ireland was never a colonial power. Like in the United States, like, well, you have to put up with this because you were mean to Puerto Rico or something, or, you know what I mean? Or you've used too much carbon, so you have an obligation to allow all of Central Africa to move to your country and give them housing vouchers. Okay. But Ireland never did anything to anybody. Ireland was oppressed by Great Britain, actually. It was never a colonial power. It sat out an entire world war. No, exactly. Yeah. They started a potato famine. So why are you doing this to the Irish? They are the indigenous population of their island. And you're watching them die and replacing them with people from the third world. On what basis are you doing that, George Soros? Actually, like, what's the real answer? And you have to think that this is genocidal intent. Like, what else is it? I mean, honestly, what else is it? Oh, shut up. How about no? Because I want to live like it's 1985 in a country that I love, where honest questions could be asked with full confidence. You have the right to do that because you're an American. And I'm going to live that way until I die. And I don't care what they do to me. I'm going to live like it's 1985 in my country. And I'm going to ask a super obvious question. Why are you doing that? And why are we putting up with it? I don't think we should.
We shouldn't. So what he brings up here is, I mean, people, we got to wake up, man. This is getting way out of hand. What he's talking about here is all the immigrants going into Ireland, right? We deal with it here in America and in Europe and stuff, in the UK and stuff, because they say we colonized people, shit like that. So therefore, this shit that happened when again, we have to pay the bill for that. as if it was some bad thing. First of all, it wasn't a bad thing. It was a great thing. It gave us the modern world. Look, I got a lot of problems with it myself. Personally, I don't like how we live nowadays. I would prefer to go back to, where families homestead. Really, I don't think we need all this crap. We just don't need it all. All these minor conveniences that have stacked up into our daily lives that have made us basically automatons. We just consume, consume, consume. Every day we wake up to consume more, and then we go to bed to plan and recharge to consume more. It's out of hand. Um, so that is I think pretty obviously what has led to all this immigration is in America, right? Our birth rates fell. Well, that's not good when you have a certain amount of GDP that you need to keep up, right? So never mind the fact that they propagandized us for years not to have kids. Never mind that they propagandized men and women to hate each other, especially white men and white women. Never mind that if there's a fall in birth rates, it's most it should fall mostly on the people in power. You guys created this shit for GDP. Um, and now that you realize, oh, there's not enough people to keep the elite and the lifestyle they've grown accustomed to, just uh, screw the Americans, screw the people, screw our citizens. Bring in immigrants, third worlders from all over the place, the worst of the worst. I mean, these countries are emptying their prisons into America, and nobody cares. Nobody in power really cares. Uh, I'd like to think that Trump cares. I'm still holding out hope that there's something that's going to happen, but it's not looking good. He doesn't seem to care that much. I mean, his deportations, they may be impressive to some, but they're not impressive to me. Those numbers are low, man. Excuse me. Those numbers are low, and if we don't get them up, America's doomed, man. I mean, we've already lost a big part of our culture. A big part of our culture. I'm sorry, I cannot talk today, man. It's because I'm kind of freaked out about if my if my Mac is gonna overheat again, and trying to watch all the settings over here and make sure everything's all right. So once I get more comfortable that everything is actually working as it should, maybe I'll be able to talk at least a percent or two better. But I want to show you this other interesting piece of propaganda. Let me see if I got it here. So here's this. I've noticed this popping up a lot recently. This myth of white people don't bathe or some shit. I don't know where this got started. I don't know how it's gained so much attention, but this has become a thing now. Look at this. A tourist from Chile visited a European country and suffered a psychological shock. She almost choked from the terrible smell, as many people there do not bathe regularly and rely on wet wipes. Have you ever heard of this? I've never heard of this. But this is one of the many ways I've seen where they say, "Oh, white people, they don't use washcloths when they bathe. They just, I guess, lather the soap up on their hands or something." I mean, I won't lie. Sometimes I forget to bring a washcloth in the shower. And I'm like, oh crap! I guess today is. But that happens like what, once every 6 months or something like that. Most of the time, I take 2 showers a day. And pretty much everybody I know does, because most people I know work in construction, framing, remodeling, stuff like that. So usually you want to go into work freshly showered and everything, just to get, because you're going to get dirty throughout the day. So that, I guess you feel like the cleaner you start. That's me anyway, but definitely anybody who works in construction or framing or anything like that, the instant they get off work, this is why these guys, you don't see them out at clubs and stuff like that, because they have to go home and shower first. before they can go anywhere. And then by that time, it's late as hell. So most of these guys, unless you're talking about young guys in their 20s, they don't do that stuff. Mostly because they can't just go straight from work to do it. Because they're filthy. They've been sweating for 8 to 10, 12, 14 hours, if not more. But yeah, there's just no way. Now, I will say if this is in some kind of train and it's in Europe, I mean, what are we talking about here? At this point, this ain't white people in here smelling up this train. I mean, it's mostly Muslims there now anyway, right? So what are you really talking about, Moscow news? And you can see here just in the comments. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. They think we don't use deodorant, which is I guess kind of a weird thing because I know some people don't use regular deodorant because that shit's actually kind of bad for you. You're better off without it in a lot of cases. But yeah, I mean, I have 2 things of deodorant right there. I don't really know anybody who doesn't use deodorant almost daily. But yeah, it's best to give your skin a rest from that stuff. But so yeah, you can see silence G. This is this is just one of those things. And what is this, right? Your account is based out of India. You can't be serious. Exactly. So this is cope. This is cope for these people, for some of these Indians and stuff like that. But more importantly, this is fucking propaganda, man. And it's meant to dehumanize us, to demoralize us, and make us less than everybody else. And you can see this everywhere. You cannot deny that white people have become less than second class citizens in our own country. There's just no way you can deny that. It's the proof is everywhere. Yeah, here's another one. I just thought this one was kind of, I think this is actually a YouTube thing. But I thought this was interesting. This was posted by Legion of Man. Is it? Oh, that's cool. I guess it's not in there. Okay, Legion of Men, which is he has a pretty good YouTube channel, kind of red pill content type of dude. But he says, I wonder why this didn't cause media outrage. And the reason is because it doesn't fit the narrative, obviously. But this is a quote, kill all white people. And it says racist serial killers indicted for killing three more hikers in random attacks, bring the total body count to 6. So I didn't hear anything about this until I saw this post right here. I'm sure that you haven't heard about it. And it's just interesting, isn't it? This dude killed 6 white people because they were white and nobody said a fucking word. Imagine if the races were reversed. There would be riots in the streets. People would be freaking the fuck out because they are convinced that Nazis are living around every corner. So yeah, this is obvious, but just to highlight it in case anyone is confused. Wasn't strong enough to target men his own age, so he went for elderly women and men. Pathetic coward. For the record, I'm not saying there's honor in targeting anyone, obviously, but it's clear that how old is this guy? This guy's clearly a young dude. Look at this guy here. This dude in the top right corner. This guy looks kind of like a frail old hippie, man. Look at these people are older, man. Attacked, murdered. For what? And I'm sure as he was killing them, he was calling them racist the whole time. I have no fucking doubt in my mind that that's what he's doing. And again, like this person says, so this gives, when you see stuff like this, it does give me some hope to know that that people are seeing this stuff, because it wasn't always like this. This is fairly new for people to be noticing this kind of racism, this sort of anti-whiteism that's become normal in American culture now, or maybe in the world, I guess. They're actively in a war against us. This is something I'm gonna like that. People, yeah. Somebody else mentioned the random attacks. It's not random if he's killing white people and he's saying that I want to kill all white people. It's not random. It's a targeted attack. Another great point here. See, this is what gives me hope. So I get blackpilled a lot, but it's just nice to see that other people are recognizing what's really happening. So this guy says if they defended themselves, it would have been national headlines, and that's true. Imagine if one of these guys here, if it would have been a woman, I don't know if this is a woman here or any, whatever. But imagine if one of these guys, let's say this guy right here, he looks like the kind of white guy everybody seems to hate. So let's say that this guy right here fought him off and didn't even kill him, just beat him badly in self-defense. There's a very strong likelihood that this man would end up in prison for that. We saw it with Daniel Penny, where they tried to lock him up. Kyle Rittenhouse. I know there's some controversy behind that, but the dude, it's such a clear case of self-defense. I don't understand how anybody can argue with that. And there's many, many other examples of this. And how has this happened? Because we've been propagandized. What we're seeing now is probably the end of the propaganda. We've been propagandized since at least the 60s. And I even knew that growing up, but I didn't realize how bad it was until, in the last few years. I kind of started going back, watching some of my older favorite 90s, even 80s movies, and I didn't realize how prevalent it was even back then. It wasn't nowhere near as bad as it is today. The propaganda in Hollywood movies and TV shows and just the media and culture in general, it wasn't as bad as it is now, but it was still there, man. They were planting the seeds for anti-whiteism a long, long time ago. Who was doing this? Look, I don't know. For a while, I was convinced it was just, these sort of social justice warriors, which wasn't really a thing in the 80s and 90s like it is now. But I used to think that that it was mostly black people that were doing it. Then we come to find out it's a lot of liberal white people that are pushing this stuff, and then we come to find out those liberal white people aren't really white people. They're from a certain country. And and I don't even fully buy into that, because I just don't know who it is, man. I don't know what's going on. Although these latest drops with the Epstein files sure seem to point that direction a hell of a lot more than any other direction, right? I mean, some of that stuff in the Epstein files was just insane. I wish I had saved more links to pull up and stuff when I'm talking about a lot of this stuff, but the show will get better as time goes on. I promise you guys. And I want to see if I can find something else really quick. It's actually from the same guy, the same channel, Legion of Men. Let's see if I can go to his channel. But he talks about green girls. And these are oh, here it is right here. Okay. I'm going to play a little bit of this. I'm not sure what the rules are on playing somebody else's videos. But this is interesting. And so go check his video out. It's 30 minutes. Obviously, we're not going to play the whole thing. But Sweden has abandoned their women and girls, and it's true. Now check this out. This is fucking crazy.
Hand off your taxes to an expert.
Of course, fucking ad. But they are using these gangs in Sweden and stuff check. Okay, I'll just play.
So, apart from America and let's get to this crazy. So, apart from America and the it's dealing with, here's what Europe's dealing with.
15-year-old Swedish girls are being recruited by migrant gangs who are grooming them as their boyfriends to build explosives, carry out bomb attacks
Thanks for the gifted sub, brother.
on rival
Appreciate
gang
you.
members and launder cash. The country has become the bomb capital of Europe. In 2022, Stockholm's gun deaths were 30 times London's. Girls are being
Hey, appreciate the 50 kicks.
So did you hear that? Let's play that again. Listen to this.
gangs who are grooming them as their boyfriends to build explosives, carry out bomb attacks.
Let's get to this crazy. So, apart from America and the it's dealing with, here's what Europe's dealing with.
15-year-old Swedish girls are being recruited by migrant gangs who are grooming them as their boyfriends to build explosives, carry out bomb attacks
Thanks for the gifted sub, brother.
on rival
Appreciate
gang
you.
members and launder cash. The country has become the bomb capital of Europe. In 2022, Stockholm's gun deaths were 30 times London's. Girls are being
Hey, appreciate the 50 kicks.
low as $5,000. The gangs are trafficking the nations. Boys are doing them for as low as $5,000. The gangs are trafficking the children across Europe as a continental network of child contract killers takes form.
Listen to
Arrests
this.
have taken place as far as Spain, where young Swedes and Danes have kidnapped people for ransom. One of Sweden's
Young Swedes and Danes. So not Swedes and Danes, migrants, but they won't be able to say that.
largest gangs, Foxtrot, has pioneered the grooming of green girls, a term they use to describe the blonde Swedish teenagers they recruit, hoping their traditional Swedish backgrounds will help them evade detection. British authorities say the gang has
I don't necessarily agree with that, hoping that it will help them avoid detection. That's not why they use those girls. I mean, that's obviously, I guess, an element to it because, you know, you're not going to suspect them as much. A 13-year-old little girl, if I see a 13-year-old little blonde girl, I don't think she has a bomb. But if I lived in Sweden, I would now. I would definitely be watching for that. Excuse me. Hold on a second. But they're using them obviously because they're fucking gullible, right? They'll buy into anything, and there's these young white women, man, they've been propagandized so hard, man. It's in everything that they do. It's not just for them. It's not just in Hollywood. It's not just in movies and stuff like that. It's in the music. This is what they talk about. These young white women, at least in America, and I would imagine it's pretty similar there. I think some of these young white women have this guilt because they see others that don't have what they have, even if it's minor, even if it's not real. They just think that they owe or they feel bad for this. This is how the wigger phenomenon got started, right? Because in the 80s and probably before, but in the 80s and stuff, like when NWA was coming out talking about the streets, they were talking about gangster shit, killing, dealing drugs, all that kind of stuff. And these stupid little white kids living in suburbia, they didn't have a what do you want to call that? They didn't have that sort of rough upbringing, and they wanted to look the part. So in order to look the part, you have to act the part, right? So I think that these kids, it's boredom basically. So these little wiggers, instead of learning how to skateboard or pick up a guitar or learn the drums or build a car, learn anything, instead they adopted this persona, this like gangster rap hip hop persona, and became wiggers. And that's basically what a lot of these little white girls have done too. I think they literally want to be like black men. And in Sweden, I guess it's not black, it's whoever the migrants are, they're probably Muslims or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's some kind of twisted form of self hatred or guilt for something that you didn't even do. Man, my computer is getting warm again. I don't understand it. Let's see how far we can go before it totally crashes out. It should be all right though. I guess it's not that hot. Maybe I need to get a little fan back there. Anyway, so I think that's where this phenomenon was born from. And you see, a lot of these white women in America, man, and the younger ones, especially 20s, sometimes younger. A lot of times, I guess they're kind of younger. But I wish I could find that one clip. I could never find it again of these. These. Come on, just go to X, dude. I'm just gonna scroll because I'm sure I'll find something. But you've all seen these clips of these like little white girls, 1920s, something like that. What the fuck, man? See, look at this. Where they're acting tough, I mean, like acting like they're talking shit to like 6 foot dudes. We're talking about 5 foot nothing little white girls, 5'3", 5'5", maybe, talking major crap to big dudes, 6 foot dudes, um, acting like they're hard, acting like it's crazy. And that shows you the level of propaganda because it's insane that you sit there and talk to a grown man like that and think that you can actually stand a chance. But they do, and like I said, I think it's because this propagandizing has made them want to be black men. Some people say, "Oh, they're attracted to black men." Some of these women, I don't know if that's the case. I'm sure it is. In some of them, I'm sure that it is. I guess, but in large part, I think it's because they want to be men, and all this propaganda. You see all the music videos, Hollywood movies makes black people look so cool with all their degeneracy. And I think these stupid little white girls see that and they're like, "Oh, I want to be that." So, what's the best way to be that? Put on some baggy pants and show your ass and act as if you're a gangster when nobody else believes it but you. I'm trying to see if I can find of it. Usually there's a few of them. Oh yeah, this is pretty irritating.
There's obviously it's a little. It brings up mixed emotions to represent the U.S. right now. I think it's a little hard. There's obviously a lot going on that I'm not the biggest fan of, and I think a lot of people aren't. If it aligns with my moral values, I feel like I'm representing it. Just because I'm wearing the flag doesn't mean I represent everything that's going on in the U.S. So yeah, I just kind of want to do it for my friends and my family and the people that support me getting here. It brings up.
There's another. I think it might be this guy here who, after him, says pretty much the same BS, right? First of all, no sane person thinks that because you
Mixed
are part
emotions.
of the USA team and you represent USA, that you fully agree 100% with every single thing that the US government does. Nobody thinks that. But in this day and age, you have to say that.
To represent the U.S.
And you have to say it on
It brings
camera.
up mixed emotions to represent the U.S. right now, I think.
Brings up mixed emotions. Look at this. I just don't get it, dude. You're a white man. What are you doing? He's talking about ICE. Clear. They go on to basically, I think he might say it, but this guy, he goes on to say it, that they're basically talking about ICE. This is another thing I just can't understand. These are not new laws. They act as if Trump wrote these laws and created ICE out of thin air. No, these laws have been on the books since forever. Every country has these laws. So it shows just how stupid and propagandized that they are again. I mean, these people are stupid, man. I'm sure this guy worked really hard, and I'm sure he's a badass skier. Um, that's awesome. That's great. We need more of that. But man, you gotta work. You gotta work on that. You can't just let yourself soak in every bit of content that you happen to just sort of pass by. like do some research into what you're saying for a second before you just spit it out. But he doesn't have to. Why? Because what he's saying here is really anti-white. So that's okay. You don't need facts. You don't need anything else other than just to say that, and you'll be totally accepted into the group. If he had said anything other than what he said here, there's a very strong possibility that they'd kick him off the team. He may be debanked. His whole career would probably be in. So in that way, I guess I can't blame him, but man, somebody's gonna have to have a backbone eventually and stand up and say, "Yeah, I don't know. It sucks that ICE has to do things this way. I'm sure that they're not thrilled about it, but these people entered our country illegally. None of them were vetted. We have no idea who most of these people are, if we know who any of them are, and that needs to be rectified because no matter what you say about they're a benefit to us and immigrants built America and all that, it's all total bullshit. Immigrants that built America, first of all, were European immigrants. Well, blacks built America too. Yeah, there was like maybe 5 or so. But they'll completely skip over the 97, 98%, 99% of white people that did all that stuff too. And they'll just say, oh, immigrants did it. Oh, black people did it. Well, I guess to a degree, sure. 1 to 2% was, I don't know the actual numbers, but it ain't much. um, we were all just born into this, man. And so anyway, it gets me. I get so angry, and that's why I wanted to start making videos because when all the stuff started popping off in Minnesota with ice and everything, I couldn't. I was watching people talk about it, and even the people that I typically watch, a lot of them just aren't saying the things that they're not seeing every angle of this. Um, like with Renee Good when she was shot, a lot of people were debating, oh, did he see the wheels moving or did she do this or that, blah blah. And my whole thing is like, dude, why is she there? She shouldn't even be there. These people, and of course now we've found out that this is an organized effort by some group that is purposefully out here to they're trying to destroy America, and this is just one of the many ways they do it. So Renee Good was propagandized into this bullshit. So that's my whole thing. Is like that's why I created this channel, or that's why I'm making these videos. I'll get better at it, I promise. But a lot of people are missing a lot of the big stuff. We should have zero tolerance for stuff like this. This guy is a Team USA Olympian, and he's talking bad about America. That's fucking unacceptable, man. Unacceptable. And because I don't think that having a criticism of America, and especially the American government, is bad, but you're just doing it to fit in. You're just doing it to pile on with everybody else. You're doing it to save your own ass at the cost of your fellow Americans. Americans will continue to die because this type of bullshit keeps spreading. It's crazy. We should not allow this. Back in the 80s, when we were a very patriotic country and everybody loved America, and if you said something bad about it, you would have to face some kind of backlash. I'm not saying physical or anything like that, but and nothing near like what you face today. If you say something good about America, you wouldn't have been debanked or anything like that. But I'll tell you what, people would have noticed it a lot more. People would have took it a lot more seriously back then. Why? because it wasn't the norm. It's normal to love your country. It's normal to have some sort of instinct for self-preservation. And these white liberals don't have that. They're the only living being that I know that lacks an instinct for self-preservation. They're more than willing to give away their country. They're more than willing to give away everything. They're more than willing to put little Swedish girls in bombing gangs to virtue signal and feel better about themselves. Black failure, white guilt is one of the biggest problems for liberal white women. And I, for a while I shied away from that, the whole liberal white women thing. But man, it's hard to ignore. Let's just seeing this up here playing. Let's see what this is. It says, "Oh, this is from Lily Gaddis. Import the third world, and you get this shit." Yeah, yeah. Look at that. Look at this. The fuck? How's that even happen? Dang, my computer's getting hot again. We was good drivers and shit. So anyway, I just wanted to touch on some of that. I want to talk about, actually, before I do that, I want to show you something else that's going on that nobody else is talking about. Let me just find this real quick. Give me 1 second. I'll play this other video real quick while we are waiting. Cassandra McDonald, she's a good follow. Try and find something good to play because it's going to take me a second to find this. Whatever, I'll just play this. This is probably a good example of exactly what I was just talking about.
You're not entitled to a child-free world. Well, you are not entitled to a complaint-free world. So here's mine. I shouldn't be spending $600 to have my chair kicked by a toddler for 3 hours. I think we need children-free flights. You're not entitled to a child-free world. Well, you are not entitled.
Okay, here we go. So just a quick word on this chick. Yeah, SSRIs dies. SSRIs never lies. This woman right here, oh Lord, you can see, you better avoid this type of woman here, man. This type of woman is trouble. Look at her eyes. Look at that. I mean, she's got that hair just pinned back. I don't know what, maybe it's her head shape. I don't know, but that shit looks scary to me, man. She looks like she wants to be miserable. Yeah, I mean, and it's this type of girl that I was talking about that would be on a street corner, after coming out of a club or something like that, like acting like she's gonna face off with some 6 foot tall dude. It ain't happening, lady. But they do it and they believe it, man. They believe that they can do this shit. And that's propaganda. Propaganda allows some little 5'5" skinny little girl to walk up to a dude that's almost a foot taller than her and talk shit like she's in a UFC ring, like she's in the octagon. It's crazy, man. I'm sure you've all seen it. I'll put together a video of that, of just those clips and nothing but that, because there's a ton of them. So anyway, I want to show you this. How do I do that? Share this tab instead. Bada bing, bada boom. So watch this. This is pretty intense, and this is if you're not familiar with Gavin McInnes, where have you been? Um, this is his network here, Compound Censored. I wish he had a damn affiliate program. That'd be great. I love Gavin. He's a little bit of a goy or whatever. Oh no, what is it? He's not like whatever. He doesn't hate the Jews as much as everybody else. So he gets a little bit of shit for that. But this is the guy that basically created Nick Fuentes, one of the influences on a young Nick Fuentes. I remember watching Nick, or when he called in to Gavin's old show when he was he on the Blaze back then? I don't remember, but way back. Anyway, this is his network, Compound Censored. His show, Get Off My Lawn. This is a segment from that show that discusses some of the stuff that these illegals are doing as they get here. So this is a few minutes. I'm just going to play it through and let you check it out. Maybe I should be going to the original links on all these. I don't know, but check this out.
I got to admit, that was a hell of a turnout, you guys. On good for the midterms. Because the dummy was abandoned by his father. What else are you supposed to do? A. B. The pepper spray was much less than 1 second.
He's talking about.
I have it in my notes.
I think I saw it.
He's actually talking about more propaganda. Here he was mentioning that 5-year-old boy where they said, oh, they arrested ICE is arresting 5-year-olds and shit. And what had really happened was that they were there to get the dad. This is a crazy story. Anyway, they were there to get the dad, or the male in the situation. I don't think it was his dad, which is a scary thought. But he takes off running, leaves the child there. So ICE, they tried to bring him back up to the home or to the apartment where I guess the guy was living with the child. And the women in I think he said there was at least 1 or 2 women in there that just closed the door and said, no, he doesn't live here. No, we don't want him. And they're like, what the hell? So they have to do something. So this kid is just standing in the streets of Minnesota where his dad potentially has just ran off and left him. The family inside the home don't want him. And you're mad at ICE? That don't make no sense. And then there was another incident of a guy getting quickly pepper sprayed where they just took the screenshot of it and made it, I guess they drew it out, or I don't know, but it was nothing that they blew up into a major thing.
Somewhere here.
Greg Bovino,
Here it is.
who committed the crime of wearing a long coat on a very cold day. I don't know if you know this, but long coats, yes, Stalin wore them. Yes, Churchill wore them, but Hitler also wore them. Therefore, you're a Nazi if you have a long coat. All dogs are mammals. All cats are mammals. All dogs are cats. Hitler used toilet paper. You use toilet paper. You're Hitler. I don't use toilet paper, by the way. I have Japanese toilets at my house. And you know what I think it's doing to my butthole? What? It's making me keep wiping in this shit.
Okay, I forget.
So Greg Bovino reveals at least 40%
very
of
YouTube
sweet,
friendly.
sweet angels. So scroll down to the video. We don't have to read Dr. Zeus to kids at bedtime. But Greg, can you give me an example of the kind of people you're busting?
Here it is.
Are they really that bad?
Is past 4 years. I'll detail one for you, folks. That's
get ready, because this is what these people out in Minnesota are protesting for. They don't want to stop this. They want to keep it going. This is what all the propaganda has allowed to happen for these tolerant and caring liberals.
It's truly heinous.
Yeah, right.
Border Patrol agents there in the El Centro sector encountered a young child, was approximately 3 years of age. The child appeared to be drugged.
So an adult.
Not with his parents, with strangers.
Pause.
Agents.
A lot of these Mexicans are more mature than a Western man. So
3 years old.
3-year-old is more like a 4-year-old. Go ahead.
Managed to wake the child up after doing what is known as
If you don't know Gavis, if you don't know Gavin, he's obviously being sarcastic.
a sternum rub.
Western man.
Listen to this.
So that 3-year-old is more like a 4-year-old.
This is fucking.
Managed to wake the child up after doing what is known as a sternum rub, which is something which is a technique to wake someone up that may be induced by drugs. As the child woke up, we understood the child's parents were not with him, and medical examination saw that this child had non-surgical sutures in his abdomen. Let me say that again. Non-surgical sutures in the child's abdomen.
Thread.
He's being trafficked across the border
Sewing
in that
thread.
condition. That's not an isolated event with the U.S. Border Patrol or ICE. We saw that many, many times. Drug children coming across the border, and guess what? Other than a couple of news outlets, I believe News Nation and Fox reported, nobody else would. Nothing on a child with non-surgical sutures in his abdomen, and nobody knows why.
I know why. So do you. I hope. This is what they don't understand, man. And I tell you this because I know. I lived in Arizona for a little while. I crossed the border quite a few times, like legally, like going to Mexico and shit for, shopping or whatever you want to call it. When I was younger. So, I spent a lot of time in Arizona. But also here in Florida, there's a lot of Mexicans here in Florida too. I worked with several Mexican crews, roofing crews, framing crews, that had a lot of Mexicans or were entirely Mexican. Some of them illegal, many of them illegal. This is most of this is back early 2000s, maybe late 90s. A lot of this stuff. So it wasn't as rampant. I didn't quite understand it either back then, and I didn't really care. It wasn't a big deal to me. Most of these dudes were pretty nice guys, even though some of them were very rough. But I've heard the stories from them about the coyotes that bring people, that smuggle people across the border, and some of the things they do, especially to the kids and to the women. And it ain't pretty, man. What these liberals are fighting for in places like Minnesota is very, very dangerous. There's many kids that have been killed, raped, I guess I have to say, because I'm pretty sure I'm streaming on YouTube. Really bad stuff. And it's not just people like me saying it. It's not just people like Dan Bavino or Gavin saying it. I've been hearing stories like this since the late 90s, really before. When you work in construction and stuff like that, you meet all kinds of people. You meet all kinds of illegals and Mexicans and stuff like that. So you hear some of these stories. And this isn't the first time I've heard of something like this. I don't know. I think he goes on to explain it here, but basically, the child was passing out. They were trying to wake him up, right? They were giving him a sternum rub to try to wake him up. That's when they found those non-surgical sutures, which means that most likely heroin, maybe cocaine, I guess, cut and shoved into the boy. Well, those things sometimes explode or aren't sealed properly or whatever. And now all of that heroin, cocaine, whatever it may be, is leaking internally into the child's system, into a 3-year-old system. And then just, once they cut it open with, I don't know what they're using, a saw. I don't know, man. But I've heard that a lot of times those cuts are pretty bad. That's why he says non-surgical. That means it's not very clean. And they just sew them right back up, shove them into whatever, a van, a truck, a floorboard, a trailer, a tire, who knows, man, pallets, and get them across the border. A lot of them die.
I know why, and you should have made that a little clearer, Greg. He was smuggling drugs, cocaine. Well, if he's passed out, it's probably heroin.
So there you go. So anyway, this is just one small part of the shit that goes on with the illegal immigrants. There's so much that happens. It's not just kids that get used for smuggling drugs. The kids get used for a lot of stuff besides just smuggling drugs. The women that come across, when there are women, are brutalized. They're all raped. Um, they send these women, especially the mothers of little kids. They send them with man, what is it? Basically, they send them knowing they're going to be raped. They send them with like condoms and some other stuff. Man, I really should do more research before I just start streaming. um, that camera comes on and my vocabulary shrinks by half. Hopefully that goes away after a while. But anyway, that's it. I just wanted to give a sort of a scattershot approach, I guess, of the state of America right now. This is what a large part of the country is fighting for, and it's the destruction of our country. And this isn't controversial. They'll say that outright. They'll say that they want America to fall and crumble, and that they want Americans. What they mean, I actually, what they say is white. What they mean is white Americans, any Western white male. They want them to die too, and they'll say that outright. So it's not like I'm reading in between the lines here. This stuff is obvious. They make it known. So really that's it. I did say in my post, or not in my title, I guess in my description, we talk about Elijah Schafer and Sarah Stock, but I just don't care enough. I'll probably talk about it later. So if anybody is watching for that, sorry. I'll probably try to do another stream tonight, if not tomorrow. I'm working on that still, trying to get a schedule in, but I will get it. It's going to be either, kind of early in the morning or late-ish at night, 9, 10, something like that. But anyway, I think this is a good spot to end this particular stream. We talked about roughly all similar topics. I feel like going to Elijah Schafer and Sarah Stock is going to, be a little weird. But if you haven't heard, Elijah Schafer and Sarah Stock, these two right-wing people, were caught in lies. Sarah Stock recently married. I guess had an affair before she was married. Well, she told, she's a big trad, trad streamer or whatever. Trad girl, e-girl, trad, whatever. And she told her husband that she was a virgin before they married. That obviously is not true. We know now because of recordings and stuff that came out. Thanks to Milo Yiannopoulos, who has to be why are people sharing why are people sharing stuff like this with Milo Yiannopoulos? This dude will bury you if you ever cross him. Why are you constantly whatever? This is why I think I may just need to devote a whole stream just to that. As much as it's just slop that doesn't really matter, it is kind of disappointing. I'm mostly disappointed in Sarah because I have watched Elijah. I subscribe to his channels. He's had a few different ones, I think. And I'll watch some of his stuff, but he's always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. He's always seemed like there was something behind the mask a little bit there. I don't know, man. I don't know. I remember watching him when he was doing like on the ground, I guess, or in the field reporting for like Crowder and stuff like that during the BLM riots and all that kind of shit. But so yeah. Anyway, there's a lot to that story there. I'll try to gather my thoughts and put it in a nice little nice little nice little script or whatever, so that we're not all over the place like I have been on this video. But this was a successful stream. My computer did not overheat this time, and I think I covered things fairly well. Hopefully the next stream will be better, but for now, that's it, guys. I'm going to get out of here, probably go do some work, and maybe work on my motorcycle. May do some motorcycle streams soon where I'm riding. I got to get my voice used to talking this long. I'm not much of a talker, so you can hear I'm already going hoarse. But that's it for now. See you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in.